Hi, I'm Dr. Doug. Welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Mark Moskowitz. Mark's a professional trader with 18 years of experience. This show is a one-of-a-kind interview show where I actually dig into the mind of a trader, interview him, lay him out, and figure out what makes him think about his process. Lots of other shows talk about how to trade. This show is going to talk about how you think about your trades. Mark, welcome back for part 2.
Thanks, Doug.
And in part 1, we discussed kind of the process of your daily routine, but I want to talk about more specifically today is basically your entry and exit levels. So you talk about pivot points. Tell me, how do you use pivot points and simple moving averages to figure out your entry levels?
Pivot points are calculated by using the previous day's open, high, low, and close.
Okay.
Once you've had those calculations, you're going to get 4 entry and exit levels.
Okay.
The great thing about pivot points is it always gives you a reward to risk ratio of 2 to 1.
Okay.
So once we enter an order, we know that we're looking for...
Do you think 2 to 1's enough?
I think it's a good starting point,
okay.
And that's the very minimum that you're going to get out of the pivot points. So once you start to add in all the other things we do as traders, that's when you can start to goose it up to higher levels.
Okay, and then moving averages, how do you use those to figure out the entry levels?
Well, what we're looking to do with the moving averages, we're looking to confirm the pivot point crosses. So, when we see a pivot point entry level, we're looking to have the moving averages to help to confirm that. Plus, we're also using the moving averages to look for looking for extra levels of support and resistance.
Okay. Now, moving averages, there's a lot of information out there about different types of moving averages. Is it the 5-day, the 50-day, the 100-day? Which one do you really look at?
Well, I use simple moving averages, and I use the 20, the 50, and the 200.
Okay. Is there a reason why you picked those?
They run through the Fibonacci sequences.
Okay.
So I just find that they have...
So in your 18 years of experience as a trader, running your own multi-million-dollar hedge fund, you've had tremendous success, you're a full-time professional trader. This is kind of information that people really want to know about where do I start. So you're telling me, was it through trial and error that you looked at those specific moving averages, or did you always, from day one, use those?
No, there's a lot of trial and error. You do find things that work, that don't work. A lot of people use MACD, RSI, other stochastic sort of studies. I have just found that these two, when they work in conjunction together, are very, very powerful.
Do you consider yourself a technician?
Yes, definitely.
More so a technician than any kind of fundamental?
Fundamental plays a very small role in my day.
Okay, and what about price action, reading price action?
Well, tape reading is a very, very important part of the day because you're going to see something there. You might see some buyers and sellers that are not showing up on the chart. So you're going to see some significant size come in on the offer or the bid, and you know that you don't want to be against that.
Let's talk about managing risk, if you don't mind. So how do you figure out your daily targets, both on the exit and the entry levels?
I typically look on my stop loss as 1% of my total capital allocation.
1% of your total capital allocation level?
Correct.
Okay. So if you're managing $10 million, right, then you're saying $1 million. If you had a $10 million position on, then $1 million would be your stop loss level. Is that what you're?
Well, actually, $100,000.
$100,000. So,
right.
So if you have a $1 million position on,
right,
then you're looking at a $10,000.
$10,000 stop.
$10,000 stop loss. And what on the upside on the profit taking?
On the upside, I looked for about 2% as my first target. So that would be on a $1 million portfolio, $20,000.
Okay.
And my target number 2 would be 3%.
Okay. So you're still going for the -1, risk 1 to make 2%. Or risk 1 to make 3% in that range? Got it. And do you ever find yourself actually wanting to extend your upside targets?
I have no problem trying to extend my upside targets, but what I will do is once I've given back 25% of my day, I will stop and pull the plug.
Mark, thanks very much for joining us for part 2 of this interview. I really appreciate your time. And to all of you, thanks very much for joining me. This has been Office Hours with Dr. Doug, where we talk about how to think about your trades, not just how to trade. See you next week.